Now, guys, there's something else I want to point out here, and I want Karen to talk about this just for a minute, Karen. Why would an investor want to look at new construction to invest in? What's one or two or three good reasons?
Well, first of all, it's going to appreciate at a greater rate, so that's going to be the number one thing. Number two, everything's going to be state of the art, so he wants everything new, right? And as far as maintenance, I mean, he's not going to have that nightmare of having to worry about fixing anything. So, I mean, but, I think those are probably three right there. Probably some of the three best reasons. And then, when it's time to sell, he still won't have to worry about really doing much fix up other than, from whatever the tenant has done. And in a high end, hopefully they haven't done a lot of damage to the property.
Yeah.
You would think, right? I mean, not always is that true, but I mean, in general, I think it's probably something that he can pretty much bank on. And I did ask him, for sure, just so that I could make sure that he was more interested in asset appreciation as opposed to cash flow. He was happy with the investments, short-term investments he has. So he said
Yeah.
he's not concerned about that. So he was
Thank
definitely
you.
looking at the long haul.
Yeah. It's a great strategy. I've seen it done in multiple places and it works. First time I saw it was with an investor I knew in Alabama.
Yeah,
Um, and I thought about it. He's got a 10-year, roof to footing warranty on the property. He's going to get the best tenants because it's a brand new home.
right.
He's going to keep it for 10 years with no headaches, top rents, and he doesn't have to cut the grass because the tenant's going to cut the grass. So, in any case, all right, what I'm doing, guys, here is I unselected construction loan, and I'm going back to the criteria panel, not the filter panel, but the criteria panel, and I clicked active listing. And look, there's 31 properties that are actively listed in that price range, but I'm going to unselect active listing and then look at how many properties there are that are not listed. And that doesn't mean that people want to sell them, but there's 2,722 properties, right? And only with 32 were actively listed. That means there's potentially almost 2,700 properties that you can now approach the seller and say, I've got a buyer who wants to buy a property just like yours in your area. That is a powerful position to be in. Okay. That's the biggest thing I want to show you guys tonight is how you can use this to not only satisfy your buyers, stand out in the crowd for them, because you can tell them, I can find you properties right now that are not even on the MLS. They're going to say, how can you do that? You just tell them, I've got this amazing tool that lets me see everything I need to see on every property in the entire country. Okay. And you can use other criteria to narrow this down. We can see who's behind on property taxes. Let's see that. Well, that'll be interesting, especially in the million plus range. But get ready for a shocker. Okay. Hang on, it's loading now. It's getting all the county data. Now, just imagine what delinquent tax bills would be on a $1.5 million property. So, but I've seen million plus dollar properties go on the auction block with the owners who were like lenders, or they were somehow or another tied to the real estate business, and they understood their business, but they were way over leveraged. And what have we seen the last couple of years to prices and interest rates? Everything's gone up, and people couldn't help themselves. It's just like people that they gamble. I'm not knocking if you gamble. I just don't gamble. But it's like this. You've got to have it, and that's what happens. So people buy stuff that they can afford today, but when life circumstances change, they're they don't have the income to pay for the payments. Well, this thing's sitting here thinking about it forever. So the point I'm trying to make is you can use this to find people, right? Let's click on foreclosure activity. So foreclosure activity is they're receiving notices of default. They're not in even pre-foreclosure yet. Bank's just telling them, hey, you're 30 days behind. Now you're 60 days behind. Now you're 90 days behind. There's 4 properties in the million plus range where people are behind on the property taxes. And here they are right here. 1.3, 1.3, 1.3. in Allison Park, where I used to live. By the way, guys, I almost bought a property in Bradford Woods in 2012 for $125,000. Look at that price for 1.3. I kick myself every time I look at that. you know, I guess that the address was called 99 Seldom Seen Lane. That is like right up my alley, man. 99 Seldom Seen. I thought that's got to be me, but stupid me didn't do it. So, in any case,
I'm
all
kicking
right. Any
myself
questions
for
here?
you, Gary.
What's that?
I'm kicking myself for you.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, share the pain. Um,
Gary,
I,
yep,
I
Gary,
should,
can I ask a question?
yep,
Which of those okay, so if I want to pick, let's say, a zip code, and I want 250 homes that are likely to sell in the next year, which of these categories would you choose, um, so that I can make a list?
yep. Well, I don't know that there's one that's like the best of all, but I will tell you this: we are definitely having success by choosing long-term owner,
Mhm.
Okay.
which is 25 years of ownership or more. Okay. They're more likely to have the property paid off. But here's the real crazy thing: they're also more likely to have delinquent tax activity. In fact, remember, guys, when we discovered this, it was probably about a year ago. I found that report that said there were $30 billion in unpaid property taxes that year. And 93% of the time, the owner had no mortgage. I'm like, how the heck does that happen? Well, it's because throughout the life of their mortgage that they did have, taxes and insurance were escrowed. Now they don't have that being done for them. They have to pay the taxes directly from their own checking account. Not the bank's not going to pay it on their behalf from money that they contributed all year long. So I think that's what's happening. I mean, I don't know everybody's circumstances, but I'm telling you, they're already thinking, should we move to Florida? Should we move to Arizona? Should we downsize? Right? And now they got this property tax bill piling up on them, and the counties normally let them go for 3 years, then they bring down the hammer. So you can see they'll tell you, you can look at the data, how many times or how many years it gives you what years are behind. That which is I think fascinating. So in any case, so Karen, that's one big one right there. Um, I will tell you, Board Investor has always been a good search for us because it's investor-owned properties where the investor hasn't bought anything in 10 years, and statistically, most investors start selling after 10 years. And I'm one of them. My average hold time was only 12 years. That was it, 12 years per property. So I love that category because I also know investors are generally going to be more open-minded, more creative. Um, they'll listen to opportunity, they'll listen to what you have to offer them. So I like Board Investor.
it just
And
doesn't
sometimes
work
I'll
very
combine,
well for a new construction or
yeah,
a long-term owner.
yeah, but I'll combine Board Investor with vacancy. Okay. So I'll combine Board Investor with vacancy, and that's a really good one because you already know they've owned it a long time. They're probably already got a lot of gray hair like this. And now they got a vacancy on top of that. Then I can tell you, every investor that's owned properties a long time, they get a vacancy. They're like, oh boy, not again. I wish I could just get rid of all these things. I can hear it now.